So how did this appear? Now again, going back to the ages, this was the Venetian period, where relatively large soft bodied multicellular animals appeared, because the exoskeleton had not yet developed, so everything was soft jelly like, without any protective shell. So please understand what existed in this era. So everything was soft, everything was tender. There was everything was into evolution and developing. So first mechanism which developed was the primitive life, and the life was for survival. Everyone wanted to survive on this atmosphere, in this atmosphere where they can live longer and longer. We go into the evolution and find that the primitive creatures, they belong like squids, mollusk, they are the most primitive creatures of this planet. So initially their motive was survival, so they had to adapt to whatever they could survive. The material for existence was not so much available, so they had a very simple system for living. So if we see the most primitive creature as sea urchin, here you will find that sea urchin is a very, very simple creature, having one thing is an anus and a mouth. So what system existed over here? For survival, what we need is the food. What we need is food to survive. Without food, we cannot survive. So, what is the digestion? Which helped was just the digestive system. So, there is a mouth and there is an anal opening. But this was just encapsulated with a exoskeleton. That's all. Just see the simple system these people have. So sea urchin is the most primitive creature which we can find, and they are not very complex. So what system existed was the digestive system, where things came inside the mouth and they were just excreted out. So there was ingestion and there was digestion and there is an excretion. I don't think that the digestive mechanism is also that complicated over here, but the basic need was to survive. I just wanted to be there in this universe, want to be there in this planet. Now, going ahead to the most beautiful creature, the cuttlefish, as they describe, because this cuttlefish is again a primitive animal, and this creature is a very interesting creature. We can have a single lecture. What Bade sir has taught, it was a single lecture of 3 hours where he has just taught sepia. So we can take sepia that ways, but connecting to the features today, so primitive sepia has also evolved, but the most important feature is that they have the ability of polarization of light. And in Wikipedia, they have also mentioned that Google says that as I have learned from there, that they have some extraterrestrial connections, because they can perceive, they have some extra powers, they can perceive. The eye of a sepia is active even in the shell of mother, that is egg. In the egg stage also the eyes are active, they can see even before the birth. So just imagine the instinct of survival, the fear of being hunted, the fear that the enemy will defeat me has been given, imbibed to the sepia fish right from the beginning before the birth. And therefore, the eyes have that capability. They can polarize the light, even they are found below that sea level where there is no light existing. The sun rays cannot penetrate to that sea level. Still, the life survived at that angle. Am I clear till now? Because you have to be there with me. If you feel that I'm very fast, I can just slow down a bit. Am I okay with it? So this is where the cuttlefish started growing. And for the astonishment, friends, the fish is very super active. The quality of camouflage this cuttlefish has is astonishing to all the scientists because it can camouflage completely. There was a video of sepia where the camouflage was marvelous. The whatever is in the background, the sepia fish can reflect it completely, whatever it is, just to defend himself from the predator. So that fear of the predator, the fear that I have to survive, I need to grow, I want to be there, existing on this earth. So that existence was there. So this sepia was slightly advanced than what was there. But yes, this was what they say is ki sepia can give you future explanations that yes, somewhere extraterrestrial things must be there. They find that some alien like features are there in this fish because the behavior of the fish is really surprising to the scientists. So this is what they say. And going ahead, they found that the next generation was from the jellyfish, and here really the advancement has taken place. Until now we were seeing that here only a simple system has developed, and now going ahead a slightly complicated system where the locomotion has started, the desire to move from one place to another had started, and therefore they develop these fins, they develop these tentacles, they develop these suckers because the need of eating more, the digestion had started. And also they say that sepia is a fish which has a very large head, so the brain proportion as compared to the body is largest, one of the largest in the creatures. So brain cuttlefish are considered to be very intelligent. So here the intellect has also started working, therefore recognition of the predators, getting into the defense system, like an action to a reaction, that system, the reflex has started developing. Friends, understand how the systems are developing. So desire to move from one place to another has given this locomotion system to come up. But everything was so subtle, evolving over years and years. It must have taken so many years to come to this system. So now another system was developed. See, we saw that the GIT system has developed. Here we see that the epidermis has come into an existence. There is a mouth we can see, a anal opening we can see, there are tentacles which help into locomotion, and there are gonads which are coming up. So these gonads, with a mouth, there is an opening, there is an oral arm for locomotion. And now here the desire for survival, what we say, the second instinct of procreation, that I have to give birth to me and my progeny, the psychotic defense started coming up. And there somewhere recognition between a male and female had started way back, and therefore the gonads had developed to this age, to this much, that they are really visible as the gonads. And these jellyfish, they can move anywhere in this ocean, and they are the most surviving species till to date. And you see, there is not only the digestive system but a slightly epidermis covering the whole system has started coming into existence. So we see a mouth along with an epidermis. So this is a squid, just like this is called as a soft octopus also. It is coming from the mollusk category. These squids are really, really very important creatures in the evolution, and you will see that squids, wimps, they are mentioned even that they have some they are just like octopus, but they are jelly like soft, and they also have tentacles, they can move forward and backward, and they have also got a good camouflage so that they can adapt well. So octopus, one of the most interesting species again. For octopus, it is said that octopus can grow tremendously to the monstrous size also. There are monstrous octopus from a small microorganism to very small tiny sizes, not microorganism, from tiny sizes to a huge monster. See the adaptations which had been taking place. Now, as I know that this is my world. I'm very comfortable over here. So I will spread all my tentacles and just relax like I am the king of this world. So this is where the octopus goes. The octopus has got tremendous powers. Uh, it can adapt to every extent. It can even enter a water bottle to its size, can adapt anything. And octopuses are also known that they also have polarization of light, that their eyes can adjust like we have a focused vision. We cannot move one eye here and the other that side. But these creatures, they have got that fear, they have got their instinct of alertness. Yes, I have to keep myself ready for the predators can attack me anytime. So I need, because I'm jelly like, I'm not that strong, I don't have that strong exoskeleton with me which can defend me from my predator. So I have to have my tentacles, I have to have something which is far beyond my predator. So they can, like the cuttlefish, they have ink inside them that they just sparkle it once the predator comes in. They have got sharp senses to sense the predators coming to them. Even it is said that there are connections which can be seen to the extraterrestrial. So octopus is believed to be the most important creatures because they help us to understand evolution, how the uh, organism started. So camouflage is one of the basic quality where the sea creatures have adapted. Not only the sea creatures, but all the creatures have adapted so that they can defend themselves. So here where the psychosis started developing. So you should know how camouflage help. We'll take it before further. And now, as we know that yes, now we are safe enough, we have learned to digest now, we have learned to grow ourselves. We know that me and my progeny is there. Now I know that the food is there sufficient around me. So now the complex systems started developing. Before it was a simple system, just intake and outtake. Now I know that the food is also developing in evolution. So I need to chew this food. I need to digest this food. I need someone who can help me engulf this inside. So here where the jaws development we have to understand. So here the teeth, the what we say, jawless fish shows this where the mouth is there, teeth on tongue is there. So they don't have exactly the teeth, but something hard must have existed. If you remember in the previous part, I said ki everything was jelly like, everything was soft, everything was very tender. So definitely there was nothing hard to be chewed. But as things were evolving, hardness must have increased. Therefore, the need has arisen to develop these teeth, and therefore the jawless fish started developing the teeth-like structure which is there on the tongue. So there is a complex feature here somewhere. The need of developing this whole jaw must have started, and therefore we see that as the fish are developing, we see the jaws are also developing in the marine life. So this is the another creature which helps us to understand one thing. Since the life was in water, marine life, so everything was in the atmosphere, and I never had that exposure, needed that exposure to something very hard, very harsh, very rough. So I did not have that need of developing something hard on my external part. But yes, since jaws were developing, teeth were developing, definitely somewhere the bones were also developing. So there was a predator, there was a prey. So the predator had to eat the prey with the teeth. Therefore the need of teeth has developed. So exoskeleton also started developing something with a structure. Before we see that quid, octopus, they were structureless. But as the system started getting complex, as the system started getting advanced, Everything was very precious for us in this evolution. So everything needs to be protected and kept into an order. There is nothing which is disorganized. See, learn from the nature that we need to be very organized, we need to be very systematic, and then only we can be successful. So these living organism understood the law that we need to be organized. So everything was organized, started organizing. This is the first brain which had appeared. Materialistic, what we have, the first part we can see is in the fishes. See, fishes have seen shown the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the heart started appearing, the intestine became little bit complicated because there was food to be taken up and it needed to be digested and then it was to be thrown out. There was a proper excretory system. It was not only the anal system or the digestive system, but also the urinary system started developing, because it was not only the water which was going inside but also the food which needed to be digested. So here the complexity started growing. So we can see that how the fishes breathe. So fishes take in water, but here the important thing is the oxygen is not in the free form what we have. So it is mixed in water. So these gill arches, they are very advanced. Similarly, what we have is oxygen rich blood goes inside. It is oxygen is released and oxygen poor blood is thrown away from us. So similarly, the circulatory system, see how it is getting shaped over here. The water which is rich in oxygen flows inside, and water which is poor in oxygen is flown out through the gills. So the respiratory system of these creatures is through the gills and the fins what we have. So water was freely available for them, and the water available is rich in oxygen also. So they don't need something for storage. We cannot store oxygen in this way. So things were very free flowing. The fishes can freely exchange oxygen from water. And this is the mechanism which has advanced towards years and years, and this is what respiratory system we have today. So, as the life was advancing, the competition was very tough, and the survival was very good. And the food material which was available over there was very abundant. And therefore, हम जहाँ पे हर सुविधा मिलती है, we tend to grow more. And here, the first defense that was Sora for survival. Now everything shifted that to the second events of psychosis, to me and my progeny. I want to grow, I want to enlarge, I want to be very strong, I want to rule. So the shark came. The animals started becoming gigantus. They increased in their size and huge, because the food material they had was abundant, so they could survive to this extent, and the huge sharks came up. But what happened was, since the creatures became so crowded, there started becoming was lack of oxygen. And because of lack of oxygen under the surface of the sea, the creatures had to come above the surface. So we see that dolphins, the sharks, they can just come to the surface of the sea, they can just take a jump and they really enter inside. They can go into the deep ages also, and they can survive on the surface. But because it became crowded and there was lot of threat and competition for survive, so the poor creatures had to find some way out. So, what was the way out? Since the whole earth was also evolving, the continents had developed, so the need that I should shift from water to the earth, because this is becoming overcrowded. I need to go away somewhere because I want to survive. So, because of that fear, because of that danger, and because of that scarcity which started developing, the life moved from water to the land. But what will happen if I have to move from water and I have to come to the land? I cannot survive with the same Body structure, if I have only fins and gills, it is so difficult because my skin is so tender, my skin is so delicate. I can hardly live in this world. I will die. The sun rays are so harsh, the water there is just banging. I cannot survive with the skin. The fins and gills are not able to breathe so properly. I can hardly walk. So I need to adapt. So the creatures adapted, and so this was the first creature which was fossils are being discovered, where they found that they survived on the marshy lands, but they started developing these feats, the locomotor system. So as we all know, this is an adaptation to move here and there, but locomotion on the land was not that easy, remember. So it was very hard, so they had to develop something which could prevent the dorsal and the ventral part also. On the ventral part, since it was more harsh, so there had to be something hard which could bear something drops on your back, it has to be protected. And down, since the ventral part is something which is carrying all the delicate parts, so something needs to be protected. So hands and the locomotor system started developing. So this is where the reptiles came into existence. They had two ways. When they feel that I want, they go back to the water because they have an adaptive mechanism. They will go back to the water, they procreate. When they feel, they come to the land. So they have some adaptive mechanism. They can live both ways. So these are the creatures. They are said that they could come first into the land. So there are different types of reptiles, as we all know. I will not go into those intricacies, but remember the need of these reptiles was that I need to adapt to this land also. So here the adaptation was so tremendous that these reptiles came as giants, and they are the dinosaurs. These dinosaurs existed on this earth and they ruled the planet for millions of years. They were there, but see, Mother Nature has got its own way of taking all the revenges. So a poor event happened and everything was devastated. The dinosaur which was ruling, there was so much adaptations what we can see through the fossils. They were so huge, gigantic, and there are no evidences that even human beings existed along with the dinosaur. Still, it is there to be hunted. So there was a meteor which came up, and the whole Earth atmosphere again was devastating, and everything got shattered. The whole monsters who were ruling the world till now, because of the sudden atmospheric changes, the sudden rise in temperature, the whole universe was again killed. And these creatures, because they were so gigantic, they could hardly survive, and everything ended. But what survived were the poor small creatures who could hide themselves, those who could defend themselves, and they could be there. So life was still there, but still it was very hard to survive during those days. So now an interesting part to come into existence was, since dinosaurs were gone, and there was an habit that now I cannot carry, because everything was in danger. So anything available as a food material was being eaten up. So there was till now a tendency of giving eggs, or the fertilization was being done outside. But because there were so many predators, scarcity of food, so the life thought, it is really very dangerous now. I cannot put my eggs just like that. I need, so here the need for the mammals came up. Do you understand why the need is arising? Because the evolution is taking place, everything is in adaptation. So the adaptation has come up कि really it is dangerous. So now if I want me to survive and my progeny to survive, so a mechanism has to develop where my species is really protected. And if these eggs are being laid anywhere, any predator comes and eats, so better I should go to an adaptation where I will give birth to my child, and the whole process of ovulation, fertilization, and development completes into the womb. And here is the process where the need from ovulation, egg coming out, to the mammals develop. So this is how the mode of reproduction changed. So before it was oviparous, that is, they lay their eggs, still they exist, but they need to take care of their eggs till they hatch out. There are ovoviviparous, that is, young by means of egg, they hatch within the parents, such as in race, and viviparous. So they are producing young that have developed inside the body of the parents, and such as in human beings. Okay. Then there is type of reproduction that was sexual and asexual. So we belong to the category where we give, the whole process is there. So we are coming to the category towards the mammals, the development of mammals, because there the salivary glands, the sebaceous gland became advanced, and they got converted into mammary glands. So this is how the mammals came into existence. So oviparous and viviparous. So as my progeny became stronger, I could spend that huge time of, rather than hatching, sitting on the egg with all that insecurity, I am giving birth to the whole species inside me being protected. So therefore the giant size animals also started growing, and the more adaptations, and therefore so many species have started coming up, and we can see the variety of creatures. And from small invisible creatures to the whole giants, they have existed. We see even these invisible creatures that they have a proper system of respiration, circulation, digestion, a nervous system, and a reproductive system, because evolution is something which is going ongoing process. So they also have their brains, they also have their own reproductive system, and they have their own git system too. So whatever we have gained in the past is not lost. We are in the process of evolution. Please remember, whatever we have learned is never unlearned. That is being stored, and we learn from our experiences, and we grow over our experiences from the past to the future. Am I very clear till now? So now what happened is, again the land became a, abundant species started coming up. So again, fight for survival. So here we became very poisonous. If you want to defeat me, if you want to come with me, you need to fight with me. This fight was fight for the existence. So here the syphilis started pouring in. Till now it was psychosis, sora. In soric we saw that in sepia they were, rather than attacking, they were more defensive. They would just throw out the ink and hide themselves. Okay. Then octopus showing different shapes, more into psychosis, becoming gigantic size that you cannot defeat me. But then these small creatures, poor, how will they defend themselves? So syphilis started pouring in. They started becoming very poisonous, started becoming toxic. So we see these creatures biting snakes, throwing their venom. They become venomous. They became very dangerous. Even these small creatures could take someone's life. You see a crab, you see they have so sharp tentacles, they are venomous. Why? The need of syphilis came up. If you kill me, I will kill you back. So this is the defense process which has started in the mind, started in the evolution, which was not there before, which is seen here. So we see that these tadpoles, these frogs, are again an advanced creatures, and everyone must be knowing, because in 12th we used to have experiments upon them. And I'll tell you, I remember from my 12th standard, being from the vegetarian family, I was really very difficult for me to attend these dissections. And first thing what I remember as a biology student was the frog's intestine, because some of my friend just picked it up and said, Ruchi, ye le, this is a noodle. And I was like, yuck. So our teacher, just a joke apart, but my teacher said, "Ki don't be scared. Just see the system, how beautifully it has adapted, how beautiful it has grown. See the size of this intestine in a frog." And I was like, "Oh my God, how to see a size of an intestine?" But today I can understand what she was trying to tell us was the advancement of the system, the skeletal system which has started developing. The frogs, they could live life, and they were carrying a heart, they had a liver, they also had large intestine along with the pancreas. So the seedlings were there in the frogs ages, and see how beautiful the evolution has come up. They have a perfect GIT system, they have a respiratory system, they have a productive system also. So here the systems have developed. Since life was being exposed to the outer surface, we became venomous. We started attacking also. We learned the process that developing these large teeth, because chewing that thing was made easy and no one should hit me. So I had to adapt something on my skin also so that I can bear the heat. So see the tough exoskeleton which has developed the skin. There is a difference. Now you can see in the crocodile and the skin what we have seen in the fishes. So therefore a perfect exoskeleton has developed, the ectoderm has developed from what it was before to what it is today. So, ectoderm is something which is communicating from inside to the outside. Ectoderm is something which is keeping everything wrapped. So, we see in the beginning there were two systems, ectoderm and one was endoderm, and here also the ectoderm has advanced. So, we need protection, we need to survive. Protection is not only ectodermal but also the uh, immune system which has developed. Now we know how to protect ourselves. This crocodile alligator knows how to protect himself, defend himself from his enemy. So the whole system has started developing. We know how to defend ourselves through our T cells, B cells, our immune system. This is how the need for protection gave the urge of developing the whole immune system. So, since the life on the earth was really advancing, therefore an adaptation came up कि why can't we fly? The earth was not sufficient. There was an urge to move from one place to the another, to go from one area to the another. The sky seemed to be a magic machine. Everything was so attractive. So the avians came into existence. There they had these adaptation of avians was their wings, which made them fly. The skeletal system over here is they are very light, they can fly. So they are into beautiful ranges because the trees harbored them. The trees gave lot of space for them to survive. The nest could survive. Therefore, the species advance, and we see the birds. They are so beautiful with so many varieties of the birds which are existing. We as human beings are bringing threat to them, but still there is lot of advancement which has taken place. So they have adapted according to the colors they see. We have different reproductive cycles which is seen in the birds. So we have seen the whole ancestral tree from where we started as an urchin, sea sponges, to what we are today. So life flourishes on the earth with lots of love from the nature, with lots of abundance, which is coming from the mother nature. Now, where are we existing? What is the question? Is it a homeopathic lecture or something related to evolution only? No. Here comes, friend, the evolution of human being also, and how we can correlate to homeopathy. So, till now, you have understood how this animal life existed. So, we are also a human being, and human being is also an animal. So, going ahead to understand this difficult creature called as human being. So, what was Darwin's theory was that in this whole struggle of existence, everyone who survived the best could survive the best. So, survival of the fittest. Those who knew what is the best could accomplish best. So, what was happening as we were also advancing, we started growing our brains also. So we started understanding. So if I understand, if I have to live in a desert, so I have to adapt a desert. If I'm living into a ocean, I have to adapt an ocean. If I'm in the air, I have to adapt an air. So this instinct is there inside us since the beginning, that is survival of the fittest. Then mammals developed, hunters developed, prey and predator, that instinct came up. This instinct, just keep in mind, when these mammals developed, the hunters also developed. This gave, before that, in the sepia fish also, that instinct of being killed. I have to defend myself. The autonomic nervous system had started its own seeds over here. We'll see further. So the adaptation was the camouflage, what we see, the environment. If you are in Russia, behave like a Russian. If you are in India, behave like an Indian. So this is what the adaptation has taken place, and this human creature, through millions and years, trillions of years, with all the experiences, what Hahnemann sir said, has been passed from ancestors till now. And these adaptive mechanism, if these adaptations fail, then the disease comes in. Aphorism number 73. So there was threat from the enemy. Therefore, the need to deceive, the need for psychosis came up, that they have to just mix themselves with the atmosphere so that no one can defeat them. So this is a defensive process again. So now the human beings